Right now, somewhere in shallow coastal water, a shark can detect the electrical pulse of a heartbeat through solid sand from several feet away, without seeing, hearing, or smelling anything at all. It isn't guessing where the prey is buried. It's reading a signal most animals on Earth don't even know exists. And that shark isn't even the most extreme example of a sense humans simply don't have. There are at least half a dozen of these, senses so far outside human experience that scientists spent decades arguing over whether they were real before the instruments existed to prove it. Start with the shark, because the numbers involved are almost hard to believe. Sharks and rays have organs called the ampullae of Lorenzini, small jelly-filled pores clustered around the snout, first documented anatomically in the 1600s but not understood functionally until the 1960s. These organs detect electrical fields generated by every living muscle contraction, including a heartbeat. Researchers have measured shark electroreception sensitivity down to 5 billionths of a volt per centimeter, a field so weak it's roughly equivalent to detecting a standard AA battery's charge if one terminal were placed in Florida and the other in Maine. A flatfish completely buried in sand, invisible, motionless, scentless, is still broadcasting its own heartbeat into the water like a radio signal. The shark isn't hunting by sight, it's hunting by electricity. Sea turtles and migratory birds operate on a different hidden sense entirely, magnetoreception. Loggerhead sea turtles hatch on a single beach, swim out into the open ocean, circle entire ocean basins for over a decade, and then return, not to the general region but frequently to the same stretch of coastline where they hatched. Researchers at the University of North Carolina ran an experiment exposing hatchling turtles to magnetic fields, matching different geographic coordinates, and found the turtles adjusted their swimming direction to match, as if each location had its own internal compass, heading preloaded into the animal before it ever left the sand. The leading theory involves microscopic crystals of magnetite in the turtle's tissue, or a light-sensitive protein called cryptochrome that may let them perceive the Earth's magnetic field lines almost visually, layered on top of ordinary sight. A turtle that has never been shown a map may be carrying one anyway, encoded directly into its biology. Elephants operate on a sense that runs through the ground itself. Researcher Caitlin O'Connell Rodwell spent years studying infrasound, sound below the range of human hearing, in African elephants, and found that elephant vocalizations travel not just through air but through the earth as seismic vibration, detectable by other elephants up to 20 miles away. Elephants pick this up partly through their feet, which contain specialized fat pads and bone structure that researchers believe functions similarly to the way a human ear processes vibration, just relocated to the base of the leg. In field observations, elephants have been reported going rigid and alert, sometimes changing direction entirely, in response to seismic signals humans in the same location couldn't perceive at all, whether from distant elephant calls, thunderstorms, or in some documented cases, human activity like vehicle convoys still miles away. An elephant standing in an open field may be listening to something happening on the other side of a mountain range through its own bones. Then there's a sense that doesn't map onto any human sense at all, the star-nosed mole's touch system, and it might be the single fastest sensory process discovered in any mammal. The mole has 22 fleshy finger-like appendages ringing its nose, covered in more than 100,000 nerve fibers, more touch receptors packed into that structure than exist across an entire human hand. Researcher Kenneth Catania at Vanderbilt found that the mole can touch, identify, and decide whether to eat as many as 12 separate objects per second while tunneling blind underground, and can complete the full decision cycle, touch, identify prey, eat it, in as little as 120 milliseconds. That's faster than the human eye blink reflex. The mole isn't slowly feeling its way through the dark. It is running what amounts to a live tactile video feed through its nose faster than a human brain can consciously register a single visual frame. Pit vipers add a completely different channel on top of normal vision, thermal imaging built directly into their face. Rattlesnakes, pythons, and other pit vipers have small heat-sensing pits between the eye and nostril, lined with a membrane so thin and so densely packed with nerve endings that researchers have measured its sensitivity to temperature changes as small as 0.001 degrees Celsius. Functionally, this means the snake is building a second thermal image of its surroundings and layering it directly on top of what its eyes see, allowing it to strike accurately at warm-blooded prey in complete darkness, using heat the way a human eye uses light. A 2010 study published in Nature found that the thermal signal is processed in the same brain region that handles normal vision, meaning the snake isn't interpreting two separate senses. It is fusing them into one unified picture before the information even reaches conscious processing. Mantis shrimp push visual perception somewhere stranger still. Human eyes have three types of color receptor, called cone cells, which is enough to construct the full range of color most people experience. Mantis shrimp have somewhere between 12 and 16 types of photoreceptor, along with the ability to detect polarized light, a property of light invisible to nearly every other animal on the planet. Oddly, research led by Justin Marshall at the University of Queensland found that mantis shrimp are actually worse than humans at distinguishing between similar shades despite having 4 to 5 times the receptor types. The current theory is that rather than blending signals the way human brains do, the mantis shrimp's visual system runs a kind of rapid parallel scan, sorting color categories almost instantly rather than computing gradients, trading fine discrimination for raw processing speed. It isn't seeing more colors in the way people imagine. It's seeing color completely differently through an entirely separate kind of visual architecture. What ties all of this together is that none of these are exaggerations of a sense humans already have. A shark's electroreception isn't better eyesight. A turtle's magnetic sense isn't a sharper memory. An elephant's seismic hearing isn't just better ears. Each of these is an entirely separate channel of information running in parallel to the senses we recognize, built from biology that evolved along a completely different branch than our own. For most of scientific history, these senses were dismissed or misunderstood specifically because no human researcher had any internal reference point for what they might feel like. You cannot introspect your way into imagining a heartbeat as an electrical field, or a mountain range as a vibration in your shin bone. Which raises the harder, less comfortable question. If it took modern instrumentation just to confirm senses this dramatic actually exist, how many quieter ones are still sitting undetected, running in animals all around us right now, simply because no one has yet built the tools sensitive enough to prove they're real?